have been slowly working my way through some of Homer's Iliad, looking at the grammar, trying to do a grammatical analysis, followed by a brief commentary. We are now on line 74, and I'll be going from line 74 to line 83. Let me just make a point here before I get into this. We've done previous videos up to this point for anyone that might be interested. I'm a retired seminary professor, and a number of my videos deal with inductive Hebrew grammar, and also Greek New Testament grammar, and some Akkadian grammar in Hammurabi's epilogue. And if anyone would be interested, you can find them on my YouTube site under my name, Dr. Gary Stats. Like I've said on all my previous videos in Homer, I'm not a classical scholar. I'm doing this for enjoyment at this retirement time in life. I did my THD, Doctorate of Theology in Biblical Studies, and my PhD in Hebrew and Ancient Near Eastern Studies. So this is a little bit different, but I'm enjoying trying to go through it. And if it helps somebody, then I feel happy about that. So let me begin by first of all looking at the vocabulary of line 74 to line 83. We have these following vocabulary words. Mutheamai, meaning to explain. Then we have ekatebalas, the far darter, the one who shoots arrows from afar, an epithet for Apollo. Then we have Targar, or Tagar, which means so then, we could translate it. Suntithemi means to comprehend, or to give attention to, or heed. Omnumi means to swear. Praphron is an adjective. We could translate it like promptly, or earnestly, or kindly. Koamai means to be angry. Koami, means to be angry or agitated. Katapeso, meaning to swallow. Stathos means breast, and sa'ao means to save. And it would be nice if anyone following would have Homer open to these particular lines as we try to work through and look at the grammar word by word for the most part. So we begin where, let me just lay the foundation in terms of the thought thus far. We started out where the muse is encouraged to sing of Achilles' wrath and the sorrow which brought death to the Achaean camp. This is followed then by Chrysis, the priest of Apollo, who comes to the Achaeans to try to ransom his daughter that had been taken by Agamemnon. Agamemnon harshly dismisses him, that is the priest. So he then goes and prays to Apollo to avenge him. Apollo answers his prayer and sends deadly arrows into the Greek camp. As a result, Achilles then calls an assembly and proposes to appease the angry god. The prophet Calchas is then encouraged by Achilles given a chance to declare and speak about the wrong that had been committed by Agamemnon. And so we're at that point when we pick up the text where I stopped last time. And this is where Calchas is talked about for all of his greatness, understanding things in the past and things in the present and things in the future, and how by using a magic he's able to come up with answers. So we are now at verse 74. And by the way, there are many places where one can hear the Iliad read in Greek, and with poetry, with the hexameter meter. I am not trained to do that, so I will not be seeking to do that at all. One can find that online in different areas. My focus will be, as I've said, on reading the text and doing the grammar. So it reads, O Achilleu, kela aime, di phile muthesastai, menen Apollonas, ekate beletao anaktas, toigar egon ereo, sude sun theo kai moi amason, amen moi prophron episen kai kersin arexin, egar aeomai andra kalusemen has megapanton, archeon kratei kai hoi pathantai akaioi. Creson gar basilus hate cosetai andre kerei, eper gar te kalan ke kai autemar kate pepse. Allah teka metapisten eche katan, afra telese en stethesin cheoisen, su de frasai eme saoses. And I have rendered this, O Achilles, you command me, dear to Jupiter or Zeus, to say the anger, line 75, of Apollo, the far-darting king, 76. Therefore, I tell, but you attend also to me and swear. Truly indeed, that was line 76, line 77. Truly indeed, to me, gladly or promptly, with words and with hands, to be about to assist. And then line 78, for indeed I think a man to be about to rage, who about to rage, who greatly is over all the Achaeans, as the text goes on in 79, and having power, and the Achaeans are obeying him. 80, for more powerful is a king when he shall rage against a man who's inferior. 81, for although even his anger indeed also on the same day he might digest, line 82, but even also afterwards he is having hatred or a grudge until he might accomplish it. And then finally, line 83, in his hands, but you determine if you will save me. So he's asking Achilles to swear to protect him from Agamemnon's wrath. So let me pick it up at line 74 then, and look at specifically some of the grammar. So on line 74, it reads, O Achilles, O Achilles. Here we have a vocative of address. Kelai me, Kelai. O Achilles, you are commanding me. And the word here, kelai, is from kelamai. It's a present indicative middle from that root. So you are commanding me, de iphile, dear to Zeus, or dear to Jupiter, if you some translate it looking at or the Roman background, or the Roman name for Zeus, muthesastai. You are commanding me, and notice muthesastai, you are commanding me to speak or to say. Here we have in this form an aorist middle infinitive from the root mutheomai. You are commanding me to explain, and then the next line, line 75. Meinen apalunas hekatebelekao anaktas. You are commanding me to explain the anger of Apollo, the far-shooting Lord. Notice here, as we look at this grammatically, or the far-darting king, we could say, we're looking at Apollo. And the far-darting king was a name that was applied to Apollo, probably because of how he could shoot from afar, the arrows. And so then we go to the next line, which is line 76. Toigar ekon chereo, su desuntaa kaimoi hamasan. Therefore, I am going to tell you, or I'm going to say, notice toigar is, we could render this truly, or indeed, I, personal pronoun, am going to say, and here we have your present indicative active, first person singular, sude suntheo, that is, I'm going to say, but you attend. Notice here, emphatic, su, and then suntheo. Suntheo is this aorist, second aorist, imperative middle from suntithemi. And we could render this attend or give attention. And swear, notice kai moi amasan, and swear to me. Notice here, moi is your dative, your enclitic pronoun. In the dative, amasan is swear. It's an imperative, and notice here, in this is from the root to swear. The root actually is, let me just find it right here in my notes. Yeah, amasan is your aorist imperative from amnumi. So swear, and this is just your aorist imperative active. Swear, and then the next line, notice, amen moi prafron episin kai kersin arexin. That is, truly indeed. Amen. I would render truly indeed. Moi to me. Now this one, this word profran, can be translated promptly, prompt. It's an adjective, but it's used almost adverbially here as an adverb. So swear to me promptly with words, episin, and with hands. Notice here we have dative of means in these two nouns, with words and with hands, to literally to be about to assist me. Arexen. Notice arexen is from the root arego, meaning to help. So swear that you will help me with words and with literally carrying it out with hands against the wrath of Agamemnon that he feels will happen. Notice arexen is the future infinitive from the root arego. It's a future infinitive active from arego. So we would have with hands to be about, we could say, to assist. So swear with me that you would be about to assist and help me at this point from the wrath of Agamemnon. Then as we move to the next line, notice the text continues then. Agar aetamai andra kalosemen. That is, for indeed, I think a man to be about to rage, has mega panta, who is great over all the Achaeans, or who greatly over all the Achaeans. It just seems like it has an adverbial meaning here in mega. So notice as we read this, for indeed, a rendered indeed here, the conjunction gar, and then et amai, for I am thinking. Et amai is a present indicative middle, first person singular, from et amai, for I am thinking a man kalosemen. Kalosemen, I would render to be about to rage, from kalao, to rage. So I think there is a man, and here we have an infinitive, a present infinitive active from kolao. I believe there's a man about to rage, has mega panton, who is greater than all the Achaeans. And so here we have panton in your genitive plural from pas, who is greater than all the Achaeans. Notice archeon in the next line, kratee kai hoi pethantai archaioi. The Achaeans, one who is greater, we could render it, I suppose, than all the Achaeans. And then as we go on, it reads, kratee kai hoi pethanti. In having, he is having power greater than all the Achaeans. The one who is about to rage is having power, from krateo to present indicative active. I'm understanding it, third masculine singular, is having power. and the Achaeans are obeying to him. Hoi here, I'm seeing as a dative singular. So the Achaeans are obeying. Paithanti is your middle form, present indicative middle, third person plural. So the Achaeans are obeying, who are obeying him. And how can I, as a lesser man, a weak man, defend against? Or how can I make it with a man like Agamemnon? And then it goes on in the next line, line 80. Kreson gar basilus, chati kosetai andri kerei. That is, for more powerful is a king when he shall rage, or when he shall be about to rage against, we could render this, an inferior man, against a man who is inferior. And again, we have your future indicative middle, third person singular here, from ka amai, or ka, oh, I guess it would be ka amai, for a man who is inferior. Andri kerii. In other words, how can one like myself, what are we going to suffer from Agamemnon because of all of his power? So then we go to line 81. E per gar ta kalan kekai altemar katapese. For although, e per would be although, even te, his anger. Notice kalan meaning anger. Even his anger, indeed, also on the same day. Kai altemar would be on the same day. Katapepse, he shall or might swallow, or might digest. So to translate the whole phrase, for although even his anger, indeed also on the same day, he should digest. Here, katapepse is from katapeso. It is your aorist subjunctive, third person singular, from katapeso. So even though he digests his anger on that same day, the lingering grudge can continue, and then he can come back and attack, hurt me, I think is what the priest is saying, or the one that Chrysis, the one who is called to speak by Achilles. So then we move on in line 82. It says, Ala tekai metapistin eche katan afra telese. And I'm rendering this line, but even also, notice the sharp contrast in Allah, but indeed also afterwards. Metapiston, he is having anger. Eche is your present indicative active third person singular from echo. Afterwards, he is having, and we could render this like a grudge, anger or hatred that has an angry grudge. Then until he might accomplish it. Notice afra telese. Telese is your aorist subjunctive, third masculine singular from taleo. So even though he may swallow his wrath temporarily, it won't last. The grudge will build up, and then he will attack me, I think is what the magician is saying here, or this spokesperson to Achilles. And so then he continues, in stethasin cheoisi, sude phrasai eme saose, in his breast, but you determine if you will save me, is the way I would render this. So in other words, until his grudge should continue, and he would carry out that grudge in his breast. Notice stethasin is your dative plural from stethos, meaning breast, that would be in his breast. But you, phrasai. Phrasai is your aorist imperative, active imperative from, aorist imperative middle from phrazo. But you plan, I guess we could render it here, but you make a plan if you will save me. In other words, that you might be able to save me from the wrath of Agamemnon. And so that last phrase, me saose, notice if you will save me, saose is your future indicative active with the sigma here and the ascending. If you will save me from sa'ao, which means to save. So to just summarize what we've seen so far, notice the prophet Calchas, encouraged by Achilles, is going to declare the wrong of Agamemnon. But Chryses wants to make sure that Achilles will say that I will not have to deal with the wrath of an Agamemnon, who is so much more powerful than I am. So that's where we are. I am going to stop at this point and pick up when I work some more in this section of Homer. Thank you. I'm enjoying it myself. I hope it's helping somebody. Thank you very much.